Hey guys, my name is Shashank and I'm a data analyst working out of Seattle, Washington. And today I'm going to show you a day in my life. So what we're going to go through today is a dashboarding exercise where this is part of a contract I was working on for a client where they needed some HR analytics done. So after I had gathered all of the data, put it into a database, automated the, data, extracting, transforming, loading ETL into the database, and then pulled all the data and did some transformations on it. I was like, okay, I want to present my findings to them and I want them to be able to monitor these findings automatically. So let's build out a dashboard. Now, what is a dashboard? A dashboard is, think about it like the dashboard on your car. What does it do? It gives you real-time metrics as to how well your car is doing at a given time, whether that's your speed, your RPM, how much fuel you had, the engine temperature. In the same way, a dashboard for a business is the exact same thing. It's supposed to give you as close to real-time insights into your business as soon as possible. So this was about HR analytics, so basically team performance and everything. So after building out the data entry form, the backend database, I decided to put together the dashboard for them. And I use Google Data Studio for this. So Google Data Studio is basically Google's version of Tableau or Power BI. Tableau and Power BI are both what we call BI tools or business intelligence tools, which are basically tools that are designed to kind of be drag and drop interfaces that can quickly parse through a lot of data and get you to visualizations very quickly. You can do a lot of this stuff on Excel and Google Sheets, but it is easier to, it's actually faster to create visualizations on these BI tools sometimes, and it can be easier to automate large amounts of data. If you ever worked with, I can't say for Google Sheets, but Microsoft Excel, for example, you'll hit a limit once you have a million 0.04 cells or something like that. These types of limitations don't exist in BI software. Um, just as a quick aside, Google Data Studio is definitely something I think people are sleeping on because it is free, a great tool, cross-platform, which is not something you can say for Tableau or Power BI. Tableau costs a lot of money to have per license per user, and Power BI does not work on Macs, which, as you can see, I'm a user of. So let's get started. When you're creating a dashboard, it's very tempting to want to just get started once you have your data, but that's usually not a good idea. What I like to do is I like to get started and draw stuff out on my iPad, but you could do it on a piece of paper if you wanted to, and get a basic layout of where I want everything to go. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to the iPad now. And forgive me, my handwriting is absolutely terrible, but I think it's legible enough for people to see. So the way I usually, I've done enough dashboarding in my life to where I kind of have like a basic layout I like to follow. So I almost always put the logo of the company on the upper left corner, and then the dashboard title. DB in this case means dashboard, not database, although I can understand how that might be confusing. The next thing I like to do is I like to have what I call my top line metrics. There we go. And all these are usually just text that says, for example, 30 hours worked, 50 clients seen, stuff like that. So these are just top line metrics that are, if you want to get a quick idea of how your team is performing, you just look over here and you can see is this up or down from when I last looked at the dashboard. And I always like to keep that either next to the logo or right underneath the logo. And then another thing I like to do, and it changes from software to software. Sometimes I'll do it differently in Power BI. I mean, in Tableau, is I will have the filters, whoops, right underneath that. So let's go ahead and put that over there. So filters. And all the filters do is the filters allow us to dynamically limit or expand the data. That way people can get more granular views into what exactly they're doing. And this is similar to slicers in Excel, and I believe they're also called slicers in Google Sheets. Then after that, this is like kind of standard. This is almost every dashboard I do has this basic format over here. The next thing I usually do is I ask the client, um, what would they like to see on the dashboard? In this case, they were quite adamant that they got to see a table with the data in a tabular format. And this is something you'll run into quite often. If you read the book Storytelling with Data, which is a book I will have linked in the description below through an affiliate link, and a book I highly, highly recommend, even if you're not getting into dashboarding, it's just a tremendous book. You will see that oftentimes tables are not the best way to communicate things, but people are so used to Excel and Google Sheets, which are tremendous tools, no shade. Um, that they want to see data in tables. So I almost always will show people the data in tables, and then as I go for version 2 of the dashboard, I will gradually start turning things into charts that have just the data they need to see. Because people feel uncomfortable. The thing about dashboards is people feel uncomfortable when they can't see all of the data they're used to seeing, even though they probably don't need to see all of it all at once. So that's kind of a transition thing that you have to work through with your clients, or with, if you're in corporate, with your stakeholders. And I would like to make a video in the future where I talk about these soft skills, which are very, very important to succeeding in the corporate world. Because as technical people, it's really easy for us to get caught up in the, oh, like, the coding, the querying, the building, and not realize that, hey, there are real people that need to use this. And it is often a psychological game to get people used to things that you're building, because, depending on the company you're at, you might be doing something completely new. So we have a big table over here, right? That'll just have all of our metrics. And then I'm going to simplify this from what I actually built out for the team. We're going to have a time series chart over here, and then a bar chart over here with certain metrics. So we have our table, our time series chart, and our bar chart. And this will be exactly what we have on our dashboard. And I think this is more or less good enough to get started. So let's go to the computer. All right, so now that we have figured out the layout of our dashboard, let's go ahead and determine what parameters we need to specify. So depending on the complexity of your dashboard, you may have more or fewer parameters that you need to specify. I'm probably going to put together a little bit of a template a little bit later, where I go through all of the possible parameters you need to consider when making a dashboard. For today's example, it's going to be fairly simple. We're just going to need to specify our metrics and our filters. Should put a colon over there. So the metrics are, what I'm calling the metrics are basically things that need to be calculated in the dashboard, meaning that the data does not have these metrics inside them already. Well, it might have total hours, but for example, like percentage of billable hours is not like a row inside the table. It's only it's something that we'll have to calculate using Google Data Studio. So that'll show you guys how I make calculated fields, for example. And then we have filters over here, and filters are important. That way I know how is the data being sliced and diced. Now, actually, prior to all of this, before you do anything, you really need to figure out what your data structure needs to be, what your how you are going to design your table, what level of aggregation your data is going to be in, and consider all of that, because trying to manipulate and aggregate data heavily inside a BI tool is usually like it's a bad idea, and it takes a lot more time than is necessary. So you'll want to like do your SQL queries and stuff prior to that. I would like to do a full end-to-end project where I pull data from a data source, put it into a database, query that database, and put those in, and maybe do some machine learning on it, on that data, get some insights, and then present that on a dashboard for you guys one day. Yeah, look forward to that. So the metrics we're going to be looking for are total hours, client seen, not client seam, percentage of billable hours, and percentage of clients not seen. Basically, this is a way for us to determine the efficacy and how much the employees are working. And the filters, we're going to filter by the employee name, the date range, and the facility. So the employees can work on multiple facilities in this example. So as you can see over here, I opened up Google Data Studio. I think you just type in datastudio.google.com, and I'm going to connect to a Google Sheet that I already have available. Oh, whoops. Looks like it jumped on me. So click on Google Sheets over here, and this page should pop up basically as soon as you um, open up your Google Data Studio. I believe this is yep, use first row as headers, include hidden and filtered cells. Awesome. And then I'm going to be using sheet 1. So let's add that. And if you can't see, there's a button in the bottom right corner off the screen. I click that says add. All right, add to report. Let Google Data Studio do its magic. Okay, so as you can see over here, we have our name and our record count. So what Google Data Studio does whenever you connect to data sources, it just automatically shows you a little bit of the data to see what's going on. And I am actually going to move myself to the opposite corner because Data Studio has a lot of information on that side. All right, so let us get started. So let me pull up my design, as you guys can see over here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the logo on the upper left-hand corner. Get the stuff that's not going to be changing anytime soon. So Data Studio has this really cool feature that, to the best of my knowledge, Tableau doesn't have, nor does Power BI. Or, well, Power BI kind of has it, where basically you can extract a theme from an image. So, for example, if you like know the corporate design of a company, so for example, like let's go to Microsoft.com. Okay, so I can extract Microsoft's colors by going over here, Command Shift 4 on the Mac, and taking a screenshot of that, save that to my desktop, click Extract Theme from Image, upload from computer, and then let's go to desktop. I believe this is it. And you'll see it'll create an entire theme around that color, which, I think that's a super cool thing. I have no sense of aesthetics or design. So for someone like me, that's a super cool feature. But we will not be using the Microsoft logo, if only because that might potentially be an issue. So one thing I should mention is people often ask me, "Hey Shashank, what should I learn first, Tableau or Power BI?" And I will definitely tell you, I learned Tableau first. But once you know one BI tool, the rest of them are pretty easy to figure out. So I would say just like learn one, and like if someone came to me and they said they knew how to use Tableau like quite well, and then I needed them to know Power BI like to hire them for a job. Um, I would still hire them because the tools are like they are different, but they're meant to be easy to use. So I wouldn't worry too much about which one you want to start learning with first. That being said, if you want to practice someone, make it Power BI or Tableau, not Google Data Studio, because I'm not aware of a company that uses Google Data Studio, even though it's a tremendous tool. All right, so we have our logo over there, and then let's add our database title. So let's go ahead and we'll call this uh, employee performance. All right, and then Control A. Let us. Oh, here it is. Sorry, they put all the formatting tools over here. And then we will make this, yeah, keep it right or left justified. Okay, cool. This should be actually a lot bigger. Interesting. There we go. Okay, cool. So it looks like my computer's lagging a little bit for some reason. Probably because I'm trying to record at the same time. I'm actually really pumped. So Apple may have already released the laptop, so by the time this recording comes out, but I am looking to buy the newest, the M. You'll see that our custom colors are down here, so I can go ahead and pick a darker one. There we go. I'm looking to buy one of Apple's newer laptops, and yeah, replace my 7-year-old MacBook. Okay, so right, okay, we have our logo, we have our title over here. Now let us add our top line metrics. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to add in our top line metrics. So let's remember, I think the top line metrics we're going to make are total hours, client seen. Yeah, we'll make some of these our top line metrics. So let us go ahead and add them. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's as simple as going to add a chart and then scorecard. Yes, with compact numbers. Okay, so we want compact numbers, and I just put that over here. And then you see on the right-hand side, we have the date range dimension. So for some reason, Google Data Studio always wants a date range dimension, even if you don't really use a date for something. Um, and then the actual metric. So what I want is I want the total hours. Now, for some reason, total hours is saved as a date, even though it should be an integer. So I wonder if I can manipulate that here. All right, so let's go to Manage Added Data Sources. And see if we can edit this data source. All right, so, okay, so this is where we change the data type. So I'm going to change billable hours to a number, and I'm going to change total hours to a number. So I can understand why it would think that's an hour and needs to be treated as such, but it's aggregating it incorrectly. So we're just going to change that to normal numbers. And then click Done. and then close. And then let's get rid of this and add in a new one. Okay, so total hours, let's put that in there instead. Awesome. Okay, so 31,823 hours. So I should warn you guys that this is completely random data that I randomized. So, the insights may not make any sense and actually probably shouldn't. They should be completely random. All right, so we have our total hours over here. Let's shrink that a little bit. So this is a little bit too big in my opinion. So let's get to style over here. Something called compact numbers. Okay. And then we will change this to be maybe an 18. There we, that's too small. There we go. All right. There we go. And then Control C, Control V, or because I'm on a Mac, I use Command. So what I did over there, so I just copied and pasted the tool over here, which again is something that is super easy to do here, but like in Tableau, you can't just copy and paste stuff that easily, like just by using your keyboard. Okay, so we have our total hours. Now let's get our billable hours. Whoops. Billable hours. Okay, cool, cool. So it looks like our employees can only bill about half the hours that they're actually working. No problem at all. And let's press Control C, Control V again. And the next metric we want is, let's go ahead and put in, let's go ahead and see client seen. So go ahead and put that over there. All right, 16,000 clients seen. Oh man. Again, this is completely random data. So, and then percentage of billable hours. So basically that's going to be these versus this. So let's go ahead and actually I'll move this a little bit to the side. Just press Control C, Control V, and then we're going to make a calculated field over here. So let's go ahead and click on that. And then we will click on add a field over here, add a little field. All right. Looks like we're a little bit laggy. Hopefully that new MacBook will make this less laggy in the future. And we will call this little man percentage of billable hours. And we are going to, okay, let's see if I can move myself a little bit. We are going to have it be the sum of all of our hours, so total hours, divided by the sum of our billable hours. Now, you may wonder why I put this sum here and here. So what this is basically saying is, okay, Google, add up all of the total hours first, then add up all of the billable hours, and then divide that total, the sum of all total hours and the sum of all billable hours by each other. Versus had I done it like this, for example, what this is actually telling Google to do is it's telling it to go row by row and divide those total hours by those billable hours, those total hours by those billable hours. Because we want to aggregate all of our data, the proper way to do it is to first sum up each of the constituent components and then divide them by each other. All right, so that's one. Put myself back up there. And then where was it called? Or where was it? Oh, did I not actually? Oh, I must have not actually saved it then. Percentage billable hours equals sum of billable hours divided by sum of total hours. Save. Okay, there it is. There we go. Okay, percentage of billable hours. Awesome. And let's go put you over there. That does not sound accurate. It should actually be the exact opposite of that. So I probably click on this little f of x over here. Ah, okay, I reversed it. It should be billable hours divided by total hours. And then I wonder what format formula does. Oh, okay, I guess it just cleans it up for you. Let's go ahead and update that. So it should be about 0.5. Interesting. So we had a small little bit of a breaking over here. Let's get rid of that. There we go, about 0.5. Let's refresh everything, see if this stuff works. I will say this is a bit of a problem with Google Data Studio. Sometimes it's a little bit glitchy. So let's go ahead and refresh the entire dashboard. There we go. Everything looks a little bit better. And then what I'm going to do over here is it looks like this title's a little bit too long. Let's go ahead and click on that, and then you can put in an alternative title over here. There we go. It's a lot shorter. And then I also want to format this as a percentage. So numeric percent. There we go. Clean as a whistle. And then client seen. And then I think our next metric was percent of clients not seen. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a, what do we call it? A calculated field for that. So Control C, Control V, and then add a field. And then, okay, so percent of clients not seen. So the number of clients that we did not see divided by the total clients, that's what we need. So how many clients did we not see? Well, that is the sum of clients seen, or sorry, clients assigned minus the sum of clients seen, because we were assigned this many and we actually saw this many. And then we need to add this together. And then, so this should be the clients we did not see. And then we divide that by the sum of the clients assigned, which is our total clients basically. Percent clients not seen. All right. Control A, Control C, just to, in case it doesn't save as I expected. And then done. I'm gonna move my face back up here. Interesting. Okay, so it looks it looks like it didn't add it again. Okay, so I was just singing the praises of Google Data Studio, and then you guys can see it's a bit of a glitchy piece of mess. Yeah, I find that with a lot of Google products, like they are good, but they can be so weirdly glitchy. That's why, if you guys didn't notice earlier, I pressed Control A, Control C because I was expecting something like that to happen. Percent of clients not seen. Save. Come on. There we go. Percent of clients not seen. Done. Okay. Put that over there. 0.3. And we'll make this percent clients not seen, and then convert this to a percentage again. All right. Cool beans. Looks like we have our logo, our dashboard title, and our top line metrics. So the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to put in our filters, and Google just has this simple add a control drop down list. And that's basically your filter right there. Everything's already connected to it. It's super easy. We'll add our location. That's the next thing I needed. And then we'll add one more for the date. Wow. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Again, significantly faster than it would have taken me to do this in Tableau. Not bagging Tableau. At the end of the day, that's how I started my job. And for anyone wondering, I honestly believe that BI work like this is a tremendous way to start a career. This is exactly how I got into data analytics. It was by doing stuff like this. It was a gentle introduction into the world, and stuff like this is very useful. You know, companies need to see this kind of data all the time. All right. So the next thing we'll do is we will go ahead and add a table. Outfit change. So I actually was recording last night, and this is the next day, so that's why you'll see me wearing different clothes. So let's go ahead and make that table. So I think with Data Studio, all you have to do is click on table, and let's do table with bars. Add some interesting metrics over here, and we will put this guy right over here. I'm gonna go ahead and move my screen over here. All right, so you can see it already gives us a metric of the name and the total hours worked by that individual for whatever time period we specify. We can default that time period whenever we want. So let's go ahead and leave that over there. Let me see. Let me remind myself what metric we're looking at. So we have that. We want to see the client hours at the individual level, client seen, percentage billable hours, and clients not seen. So basically what we have over here. So let us add. You know what? I don't really like this bar chart that much. Let's switch it to a regular chart. So click here, drag over here. There we go. So we get the total hours per individual. Looks like there are 10 employees, which makes sense. That's how I randomized the data. Okay, so total hours, let us add. Yeah, we have total hours, said client hours. We'll call that billable hours. Now we do percentage of billable hours. Okay, cool. And let's go ahead and change that to a percentage. As you guys can see over here, it's not formatted correctly. Numeric, and then percentage. Cool, cool, cool. And let's go ahead and add percent of clients not seen. So it looks like I have two of these. Just use this one, I guess, then. And same thing, got to make that a, come on, numeric, percent. There we go, cool. Now let's do a little bit of formatting over here. So these numbers over here, not really necessary. So I think, and I want to wrap text that way. There we go. Row numbers, we do not need that. And I think I can shrink total hours. There we go. It's a little bit cleaner. And because our names are not that big, we can actually shrink those fields significantly. Cool. Okay. Looks good. So we have our table over here. Now let's just go ahead and add a simple time series chart. When you have time-based data, time series charts are usually a good idea to have. So, oh, cool. They have like a specific sparkline type of chart. That's actually something that I'm asked to do a lot in Tableau. That Tableau doesn't have a default functionality for sparklines, and Tableau can be a little bit slow to add functionality to their data, which is something that can be a little bit. I mean, not to their data, to their product, which is something that can be a little bit annoying sometimes. I'm hoping that them being acquired by Salesforce will speed up development and release of features. All right, so we have our billable hours day by day. Looks good. And then let us see. And this is pretty good. So this tells me that the data looks completely random, which sounds about accurate. I was hoping that the data would look pretty random. All right. The only problem is it seems a bit high because if I was to take this and divide it by 10, meaning the number of people there, then it looks like I'm getting like above 10 hours a day, which doesn't make sense. Should be 8, unless these represent like multiple days or something. But we'll forget about it. Again, it's random data. That's not, this is not what we're here to do. And then let's go ahead and let's just add one more chart. We'll go ahead and add a bar chart. So you'll see pie charts over here, right? And if you read that book, Storytelling with Data, they make a really good point about how humans don't have a great ability to differentiate between like sizes of volumes, and that's why pie charts are not the best way to to compare things to each other. And actually, a bar chart is usually more useful in that case. And bar charts are some of the best charts out there, so I highly recommend them, even though they're kind of boring. So let's add a bar chart over here, and let's see what metric we want to do. Not billable hours. Let's do something like, oh, you know what? Per location. There we go. Per location, per. Actually, I think that's pretty good. So now we can see in any given location the billable hours we have. And the cool thing is now, this was a very easy dashboard to create. If I click on view over here, then I should be able to just pick location A, and as you can see, it filters everything down immediately. And this is great. This is like something that you'd have to like link together in Tableau manually. Um, that at least it's easy to do over here. And we can look at like only Kalila Gartz or Gratz, see how she's performing. Looks like she only works at locations A and C. Now, this is really useful information for a company, and this stuff seems really simple, and I mean, quite frankly, it is. But the idea behind this is that this is kind of like where you start. You start off with something very simple, and from there you build up and add more analytics. You add more metrics, and you see, okay, what are the new insights we have? Basically, what questions do we want to answer? Because all analytics is usually supposed to answer some kind of a question. So that's just a quick view in one aspect of a day in the life of a data analyst. And this is dashboarding is very much how I got my start in the world of analytics, and I highly recommend it as work that anyone can do at some point in time.
So I hope you guys found that interesting and informative. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you want to support my work, there are a couple of things you can do. First, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, like this video. And if you are able to, if you could donate to my Patreon, that's where I have a Discord group where I regularly interact with people on the Discord. And it is a great way to support my work. If you're not able to, that's also okay. Watching ads on my videos, like not skipping through them immediately, is another tremendous way to support my work. The fewer ads you skip, the more valuable my videos become, and I get revenue from that at no cost to you. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you have a good day.